continuing with the Photoshop segment of the module. So let's go ahead and get started right now. We went over some questions and answers before the lesson started about the exercise we conducted last week. My comment was very strong on basically practicing this method over and over again. The last lesson that I give my students, and this is what I just was talking about earlier. So this melon exercise here that we did, right, is very important. So I suggest you practice this one over and over again. It was such an important lesson that I recorded the lab on Wednesday. So if you look at the videos, this is already uploaded, and I did this from start to finish. This not only introduces you to the basic selection fundamentals in the software, but also paves the way forward to use like layers properly, just to get comfortable with the environment. Very important, guys. So take your time, do it like, 2-3 times if you have to. Once you get a hold of this stuff, it's really easy to go forward and to understand the more, elaborate, advanced things we're going to be learning in the next lessons as well. So keep practicing this one. If you haven't got it, please go ahead and do it. This is the finished result. This is like even a written handout that it has for you. Some of you were commenting about the Command J shortcut. Keep in mind on the PC, it's Control J, not Command J, right? And also, if Command J is giving you some kind of keyboard issues, you can use copy and paste, which is Control C, Control V. Okay, that's another hint I want to give you guys. So this is all kind of set up for you. Today we're going to move on to the other segments. And if you look at the content for our Blackboard class here, you have all the videos uploaded. So this is Lab 8, okay? All uploaded in there for you guys, okay? So everything is there in case you have to go back and reflect. All right, so let's start with today's lesson. We have under the Photoshop module here, we have class number 9. It's the Facebook ad, so we're going to start with that one. I did push the extension date as well because it was a little too close to the week. Keep in mind also we started the semester on a Wednesday instead of a Monday, so that kind of pushes the weeks forward a little bit. So mind you, we all caught up on that last time because we did a class on Friday once. We did a makeup class. So this is your lesson for today. There's MacBook Pro resources. I'd rather get our own. We don't have to use this one because it's kind of getting older now. So, but I'll make them visible so you can see what they are. This is an image reconstruction exercise, which you will partake online. This is like a little thing you're going to do together with me. So I'm going to also make that visible. After today, we're going to do this image reconstruction exercise along with this one here. I'm going to convert this into another lesson just to make it more up to date. So we're going to kind of see where we're going from there. We'll pick a theme together. We'll make it, we'll do it on the whim. All right, and last week we finished the introduction stuff, okay? So this is all done. These are your lesson files. You need these files in order to do this week as well, because these lesson files kind of cover both of these weeks. So just keep that in mind. You want to have this available on your computer because there's more folders in there we got to dig into, okay? So this will help us clarify this. And then after that's done, we have new materials to work with afterwards. There's another file here called layers, which we're going to dive into. All right, so let's just download this one for now, and we're going to get started. I'm going to go to the folder here. Under the folder we have so we finished with this one here. All right, so we're going to open this one here. It's called L2 cutouts. So again, I'm going to be very clear on what I'm asking you to do here from the lesson files that we started with last week, okay? Because we started the new module. We're going to open up this folder here called lesson 2 cutouts, okay? It's just how it's broken up. Doesn't mean it's lesson 2. It's the second folder called lesson 2 in the selections called cutouts. So I want you to open this one here. This will teach you how to create more advanced selection techniques, how to do some other selection methods as well, some more traditional methods that are important, how to amalgamate or combine multiple documents together, which you will need to learn how to do in order to create the social media ad. Basically, we're going to take these two documents together and create an ad from this, okay? So I don't think we're going to use the MacBook Pro resources. I'm kind of leaning more towards this just to keep it more, sequential. And maybe later we can look at that folder and we can have some fun with it and use it as an example. So that's fine. So this is what we want to open. I guess you can download the MacBook Pro resources. That's just what we used in the last semester, to be honest with you. Somebody suggested we do, and just asked the students what theme they want to do, and somebody picked MacBook Pro, and that's what we did. Okay. Because for the Facebook ad, what I want you to do is come up with your own theme. Okay. So here's your social media. Um, Let me see here. Photoshop assignment. So the first one is a social media ad assignment. This is what we're going to look at this week. So this is your first assignment for this module of Photoshop. You're going to have two assignments and one main project. You're going to be designing a social media ad that will be featured on Facebook and Instagram, the metaverse basically. And a lot of businesses, as you know, take on these challenges or channels to boost their brand or product awareness. You can just pick any theme you like, and that's why we're just saying how Facebook, and that's still the more popular advertising channel for marketing or social media. So a lot of businesses still use Facebook, believe it or not. Instagram, LinkedIn's a good one too. That's more like a professional resume actually. So we're not going to do a LinkedIn ad, but we can utilize this ad for Facebook and Instagram. Okay. And as you know, there's the other, TikTok is becoming very popular. It is already. It's more businesses are starting to use that now, but it's more like a video integrated social media platform. But as far as images and other things are concerned, Facebook and Instagram are still the go-to. Okay. So this is the consideration. Choose your objective, select the audience. Give me like a quick basic explanation of what your ad is all about. You can write this up into the submission chat. There's a little text option you can write about. You can provide me a document. Just give me a little bit of a like an actual breakdown of what you're doing. Okay, like an introduction or a presentation. You don't have to make it all proper and stuff. I'm more interested into the design that you're going to put into from Photoshop. Okay, but a rationale usually we call it to for the students to explain themselves. What exactly are you doing? If you're doing an ad for, let's say, Lego, which is the toy company, tell me why you're doing it. What's your strategy? What demographics? Usually it's the children, age groups and stuff, and, little brief about what you're doing. Pick a design format. It's already Photoshop. Just clarifying that because I had students in the past using Canva and some other programs. And I had to remind them, guys, we're using Photoshop. We're not using other programs here. So it's in Photoshop, we're going to create the ad. Now, from Photoshop, you're going to create two formats, the PSD, which is the Photoshop document, and the JPEG, which is for social media output. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to communicate with the social media channels if you don't have the right format. So JPEG and PNG are the recommended choice. Later on in the semester, we're going to get into the more animated formats like GIF or GIF, which is the graphic image format. And we're going to also create MP4, which is the video format. So we can also make videos and animations from Photoshop as well to reach other social media platforms. Okay, so for now, we're going to just stick with this one. The size is 1080 by 1080 pixels, and that's a 72 DPI RGB color mode. The expectations are minimum of 5 layers, including typography. This is something that we did in the lesson last Wednesday with the layers of the melon, same thing. Various selection methods demonstrated. That's a given because you have to use selection methods in order to put a montage together or an ad. Layer blends and layer styles are optional. I'm going to show you what that is, and if you want to add some of those cool effects, you can. And a Photoshop format along with the JPEG for the final submission. And you're going to submit this with Blackboard, which is this channel here, unless file exceeds 100 megs. I think I had students submit bigger than that, so not to worry. Plus, your document will not reach 100 megs, okay, because it's a 72 DPI document. No way it should be that much, but just in case you're going crazy with your layers and you want to add really, really a lot of detail, it could exceed the file size. Okay, so you should be okay. All right, so this is an example of a Lego ad. You can see here like the planets are separate layers, the little Lego figurine, the logo, a little bit of typography. Okay, so this is like basically what an ad looks like. You want to look at other social media ads. I'm sure you've seen a lot yourself from other social media platforms, or just look some up on Google and some other things you can check out. I can also show you some student examples also. Any questions about this? So the due date is next week, Wednesday. So we do have still a week and a half. We're gonna do another lab this Wednesday. So maybe I'll shine some more light on this stuff, teach you some more things you can add. And then next week class, we're gonna basically move on to other things because we have to cover other material. But this is due on the Wednesday of the next week, so the lab. Okay, so Wednesday, November the 12th. All right, so if you don't have any questions, you can save them for, I guess, Wednesday when I see you in person. Okay, so having said all that, let's move forward. Let's open up the resources now. So as I told you earlier, open up this lesson 2 folder here in the selections files that I gave you last week. We don't have to worry about the MacBook Pro resources till later. Double click and you'll see this as a handout. It tells you exact instructions. So open the cutout PSD document basically. Then it says select the background layer, go to color range, and all these others. So I'm going to cover all this with the video demonstration. And if you like to read and follow steps, you can, but I'm going to give you my own version of this. And what I like about this exercise, because it dives into editing quick mask modes. And this is how advanced Photoshop designers utilize the program to perfect their selections using a quick mask tool. The selections we used with the watermelon exercise were more like intermediate to basic selection tools. Now we're going to get into the more advanced selection tools. So once you learn these few lessons with me, let's call this like our second main lesson, but we had 3 classes already. Should be that more comfortable in using the software, okay? Especially after today. So after today or this week, going to next week, you should be a little more comfortable with using Photoshop and using it more creatively, okay? And that's what this is all made to do for you. Okay, so let's get started. Let's open this file. This is a Photoshop document, and so is this one. So you can open up both at the same time by holding Shift or Command, and you can just open them both with Photoshop at the same time. Or just you can open them up from here. You can go File Open and open the file this way. Okay, just file open like you would in any other program. You do have the 2 documents listed or tabbed side by side. I'm going to get rid of my contextual taskbar. Sometimes it does get annoying, this thing here. So I'm going to just click here and hide the bar for now. We're going to integrate some AI stuff. Maybe we'll do it for the ad, actually. We're encouraged to show you some more AI. So I'm going to hide this for now. But just so you know, to bring it back in the future, it's under here, contextual taskbar. This is your AI generative prompt tool in Photoshop. It works with Adobe Firefly, which is another, image generation AI software. Okay, which you can do some really cool things. I think with your membership, you can have access to this stuff. Just to share it with you before I forget, Adobe Firefly. Okay, so you can generate like images, videos even. Okay, has all the stuff you can do now. Once you log in with your account, you can actually do some cool stuff. Okay, so you can just go ahead and use these capabilities here. Okay. So there's your Firefly soft. This is an online platform that you can use. Okay. You also have Adobe Express. This is another Adobe integrated software that you can utilize for AI. So, you kind of start the whole introductory process there. But I'm gonna relate how Photoshop is utilizing these techniques, this AI incorporated a system with Adobe. So this is the like the online stuff. So if you go to like firefly.adobe.com, you can access all the other ones here too. Okay. Even the Adobe Home webpage has the other things also you can add. Okay. So adobe.com, and you can access all these platforms. Okay. So it's not just Photoshop and Illustrator. It's a whole community of things you guys can be part of. You're already paying for the subscription, so might as well take advantage of the other tools. It's a little overwhelming for me to show you everything. So I'm going to focus on what we have to do for you guys, which is Photoshop, which is this here. Okay. Photoshop does have an online kind of version as well. In case let's say you have to do this on the go and stuff, you don't have the software, you can do some stuff here. Okay, but again, we're using the stuff professionally, so we're gonna utilize the real program, which is the one we installed. Okay, but in the background, just so you understand, there's a lot of platforms that are integrated with the software. The company, the developer, and other things that are coming up. A lot of exciting things. Okay, so open these two files together and let's get started. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. If I was to teach you Photoshop over 10 years ago, it looked a little different. It wasn't like docked and organized the way it is right now. It used to look like this. See this tab here? I'm gonna drag it out. So it used to be like this. The windows were all separated. Don't do this, by the way. It'll just mess things up. So this was Photoshop back in the day. Everything was floating around. So if you have two documents open, they would look like this. That means you can drag one into the next one and back and forth and then edit it this way. It was nice and free, like, in terms of giving you the freedom to move things back and forth. But then it was also a little chaotic with moving too many windows and palettes all over the place. Because look, even these palettes here, like everything was just everywhere. So you had like the layers here, right? And we took a whole lesson just to kind of get organized here. So the layers were floating around. Other palettes were floating around, swatches, windows. It was a little chaotic, to say the least, with organizing your environment. So Photoshop developed, I think this was more than 10 years ago, guys, probably 15 years ago. I'm dating myself now, but yeah. So it was just made it more organized for you to work with. But it's good to understand the difference because you might want to pull an image back and forth like this to control its, the drag and drop type of planning overview so you can you know go back and forth. Let's say you are to do this and you're like, what a mess I made, how do I fix it or go back? You can always go to Window, Workspace, and you can reset your essential workspace. I did this numerous times with you in Illustrator, no different than what it is in Photoshop. I'm going to hit reset and everything goes back to normal. Okay, and even this now I can just open the tools back and forth. The windows, however, don't reset. The interface does, but not the documents that are open. So to put them back, you can just close them and reopen them. Okay. Let me just do that and kind of fix the problem right away. Don't save. And I'm going to just reopen the documents from here. Command click, open with Photoshop. Okay. So there's the documents fixed. However, I could have also done this. If you lose them, you have to go to Window and find the other document, which I'm doing here. So this is what I don't want you to do. I'm just showing you because students experiment a lot and end up in this situation. They're like, how do I get out? How do I put things back? And what do I do? The panic button sets in, right? So what you want to do is to put things back is you drag it up to the top like this. Notice how it turns blue and it fades out. That means my intention is to put it back to the dock system. Okay, there it's docked. Let's go get the other one. Window, jump PSD. Let's dock this one back. Drag to the top of that bar when it turns blue. Not too high, just over here, okay? And let go. So you can drag it out, drag it back in. I suggest you don't do this. The reason why I'm showing you is because a lot of students explore and they do this by accident. So I want you to be able to how to undo what you did and be in control of your interface, okay? And to understand Photoshop better, because once you understand how this works, it's a lot more easier to maneuver around. Like maybe you want to pull the layers up and have the layers always visible while you're working. You want to put the layers back, you pop the layers back, okay? So this is how you can control your interface. And I'm a very big proponent of being comfortable as you're working. So have the layers visible. Don't need to have the properties this big because then you have to struggle through going through your layers. So you don't want to have to scroll through your settings, okay? So don't do that. Just simply collapse the things you need and double uncollapse the things you don't need, like adjustments, libraries. Like you can always toggle things back and forth here, okay? Even the layers, you see? Double click, double click. Okay. So now that we're comfortable, let's put these documents together. We're going to go to the cutouts tab, this one here. We're going to zoom in with Command or Control plus. Okay. I want to see the whole document, like the edges. We've learned a lot of selection methods to do this. I can definitely use one of them for this right now, but then I'm not going to teach you what the lesson's about. The lesson's about selecting more specific color resolution or pixels. So we're going to go to select a color range. Select color range is a very popular and a very specific method in Photoshop. What it does is selects colors. Um, so basically, you can even pick more specific colors that you're targeting. You can even do skin tones, highlights, midtones, shadows. You can do lots of interesting things here for more advanced selection use, which we're not going to get into because, there's no point for this one. We're going to go to sampled colors instead. I like this option here because by default, we are going to pick the colors as opposed to guessing the colors here. There's no better way than to actually select the color from the document itself. So if I click on this red, for example, notice how it's picking this red to become like this white part of the thumbnail, like the alpha channel preview I showed you a few lessons ago. So that's how, see this white, when I clicked on the spokes of the bike or the shocks, it selected those parts as well. If I click on the blue, it selects the blue, basically. This is a preview of what I'm selecting with this eyedropper technique. So it's an advanced color picker or color range method in Photoshop. The reason why we're doing this is because our intention is to select the background and then inverse it to the subject. And the subject is the motorcycle stunt person holding the motorcycle there, the stunt rider, okay? So we can't necessarily go and pick the person with the bike because it's impossible to get all these colors. But if you think the opposite, if this was a white background, it's easy to select the white background, select with remember the magic wand, inverse it with select inverse, and then copy and paste basically. But this is not a white background. It's a gradient background. So that means we could have with shift done the same thing, but I also want to show you this because it's important. So we do color range, click on this deep blue here at the top. Okay. Simply click. We hold shift, and shift converts this tool to add. That's why the plus button shows up. See, shift. Shift is add. You can also select this to add another color. Okay, so basically you can do this and click on this one. Okay, but I like to use shift because option does subtract, shift does add. These are the rules and the fundamentals. So use the shortcuts as they are. We're going to go shift click over here, and shift click over here. So I selected like all these different blues basically. This very light blue, this midway blue, 3/4 midway, then the full sky blue. So basically shift click. You can go shift click like this. You can go shift click and drag. Just don't touch this, which is the motorcycle and the person. Just grab the background. You'll see a clear indication of a thumbnail of what's being selected and what's not being selected. So this is how this works. So whatever is white is going to be selected. Whatever is black, it's not going to be selected. We can always go inverse the selection too. You can do, by the way, you can control the way this is also being previewed. Okay. I like to just leave it default, like leave it to none. You don't have to do all that. You can also invert the selection. If you do invert, it's going to select the opposite, which is what we want. Okay. But also I want to show you how to do this from the menu. We can also do it here. It's pretty self-explanatory once you learn it. The fuzziness stays alone at 40. So I didn't really do anything except click on the background with Shift. We're going to click OK now. Well, I clicked on this, believe it or not, by accident. So I'm going to do it again. Shift, click, Shift, click, Shift, click. I clicked on 3 spots. I click here, here, and there. The corners, basically. Let's click OK now. And what you'll notice is everything being selected except the bike and the stunt rider. But now we're going to enter this very special mode here. Just going to move this on a separate window here. There we go. There's our document. There's this. So if we look at the handout, we're going to enter quick mask mode. We're going to press Q on the shortcut. Okay. So this very special mode is Photoshop's way of interpreting more carefully edited selections. I did do a basic introduction to this using this new, remember it was called the selection brush tool, very similar. But what was before that and what it is still today, the best, more practical method is using quick mask mode. So what happens is when you have a selection active, you can just enable this mode by clicking on this little button here, or by clicking the letter Q on your keyboard. Notice how it says Q here. So you can just go quick mask mode on or quick mask mode off. You can also press Q on the keyboard on and off like this. Notice how everything turns red or reddish. That's because the default mask color is a 50% red. And you can clearly see how this is highlighted in red. You can see how it says quick mask over here. You can see this is painted in red. Okay, so that's what the quick mask mode is. And the default color, if you double click on this button, you can change it from 50% red to, maybe 50% green. Don't do this, by the way. I'm just showing you what it looks like when you do change the default. I'm pressing Q, 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 Q. It's like when we toggled with Command Y back in Illustrator, on and off. Remember the X-ray vision glasses joke I used to make? Same thing here. Quick mask mode is your X-ray vision mode in Photoshop, I guess. Different though. It's about selections more than anything else. Whereas Illustrator is more like the objects and more a vivid way of projecting everything in your eyesight. Okay, so let's go changes back to red because I want to keep it default and I don't want to mess you guys up with the way I'm comparing things here. So red is okay because there's no red apples for us, except this red here might interfere. There's always colors that are going to interfere. You just have to ignore them and get used to it. So Q gives you quick mask mode, and that gives us the power to zoom in and fix the things that the program cannot get. So I don't care how advanced Photoshop gets with selection tools and AI, it still is not going to understand that there's bicycle spokes here that were missed. Maybe you had some hair on a person that were missed. Maybe there was some whiskers on a cat that you missed. So this is why you have to do some human intervention and do your own addition to the selection of what you want. Even some stuff here were missed. So what you want to do at this point is go to the brush tool. So B for brush. Make sure caps lock is off, because otherwise you're not gonna see it. I'm gonna increase the it's pretty big. Up here, reduce the size to 25, okay? Maybe less. I'll do like 11 or something. The hardness, I'm gonna increase it to 90. So maybe adjust it here for now, like do 10 pixel size, 90 hardness. That's a good number here. And make sure caps lock is off, not on, because you won't see the radial size. And then make sure you have white and black here. If you have white, it'll take off from the mask. If you press X and you put black on top of the white background, it'll act as a mask. So you can either go X to subtract and press X again to add. This is the most proficient and the most fundamental advanced method of using Photoshop as a selection program right here, right now. Okay? Quick mask mode. So once you make a basic selection using your standard selection tools, you press Q, you go to quick mask mode, and you perfect your selection. What that means is, look, I missed a part here. Maybe I want this. Okay, maybe I want this and this and this. There's parts that were missed that AI didn't get. And I keep saying AI because it is, artificial intelligence built into the program's capabilities and some of the tools that are kind of there. Okay, so you can use it this way and you can use it that way and the other methods as well. Okay, all right. Now with the spokes, what you have to do is basically make the brush smaller, like a lot smaller, like that smaller, okay? Then you can actually paint these. Now, if I'm not gonna draw a straight line, I mean I could attempt it, but it's a lot easier if I just go click once here, hold shift and click over here. See, shift just connects the dots. So if I go click, shift, click, keep shift clicking, I'll just connect different points. Okay. So you might want to use that technique for these spokes here. So shift click, click again, shift click. Don't keep holding shift. Just let go, click, then hold shift, then click to connect. So click, hold shift, and click. So just hold shift only intermittently when you want to connect the two dots here and here. See, no way Photoshop's selection tools are going to get these little details. Okay. And if you're doing this professionally, you don't want to miss important things like spokes on the bike because the tire is going to fall off. So that's why you want to make sure you do this properly. And this is just an exercise, guys. We're not handing this in, but I'm teaching you the important methods here of why and what you're using this for. And there's the little gauge for the tire. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and grab this. Shift click. And then same with the other tire, right? There's a few spokes that are, I'm holding option and zooming in and out. You can press control plus, control minus, space bar, move around. Please get comfortable, right? Otherwise, it's very hard for you to maneuver around the software if you don't know the shortcut. So I'm just shift clicking here. And you can see, guys, when you do all this, it's a lot easier to get all the little details, right? There's some more details that are missed over here. I'm going to increase the brush size and just grab this because we don't want stuff like that putting a hole through the person. We're going to go right there. A little bit of the blue here, a little bit of the red that was missed, okay? So we're basically perfecting the selection, right? Because this is what experts do. Now, let's just say you want to, maybe you got a little too much. Let's say this was an extra thing you added. You simply press X because white adds as a subtractive substance. So you subtract, okay? And black adds. So you see how it took a little too much out? So I just press X again because it's black now. So black adds to the mask and white subtracts from the mask. Once it's all perfect, ready to go, you can evaluate it by doing this. And you don't have to have it perfect, by the way, just teaching you all the methods that you have to learn. Then we press Q again. So we're finished this. Let's exit this quick mask world in Photoshop. So by pressing Q or deactivating this button here, we're going to just exit quick mask mode and enter back to standard mode. And standard mode means selection mode. So selections look like this.
How do you change the brush size like without going into the menu?
Beside the letter P, Alex, there's two curly brace brackets.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's how you do it. So like this, watch this. Beside the letter P, there's curly brace bracket right, curly brace bracket left. Okay, that's how you can do
Okay.
that way. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So good question, and yeah, that's the shortcut we used. But now answer me something. What's being selected? The background or the subject, which is the bike and the stunt rider? What's selected? How do we know what's selected?
Subject.
Sorry?
The background.
The subject is being selected because it's all.
Yeah, but okay, so if you're this is why I really want to make sure I clarify. If you're zoomed in like this, you won't know the difference, right? You think the subject is selected. But if I zoom out, look what's happening. The background is also being selected. Whenever you see a border around the background is selected, okay?
I bad.
No, because you're zoomed in, maybe you can't see it, right? So if you see this always, guys, it's a little tip I want to share with you. You know for a fact it's the background because of this. If I do select inverse, right? Inverse means inverse the selection, like the opposite, right? Look at it now. Now you have the subject being selected, not the background, right? Let's do again. Inverse, background, inverse, subject. There's even a shortcut, Command-Shift-I, which I use. Command-Shift-I, Command-Shift-I. These are another important core fundamentals you have to learn in
How did you
Photoshop. But
inverse?
so select inverse or use
Select
Control Shift
inverse.
I.
Okay.
Again, same thing. Control Shift I, right? So we're selecting the subject, which means now we're going to hit copy, Control C, okay, copy. And we're going to go to the other image. We're going to do edit and paste. So before we pasted things on the same document, the watermelon, that's what we did. We pasted layers on top of layers and created a nice little montage. Here, we're copying selections from one document, pasting it into a different document by doing the same thing, but it's going to look like this. So the layer is going to be added here. And then you go to the move tool, you proceed with your usual, kind of approach by resizing this. You can then hit edit, free transform right here. And then you can then resize it. You can rotate it. You can do a lot of cool different things, right? And this is what you can do. Now it looks like it's kind of part of the image. All right. So that's how you combine documents. And then you can also convert this into a Facebook ad or something, right? So we're going to maybe do that next by putting some text and decorating it up, maybe resizing the document to the more appropriate, social media size and things like that. So once we did this, copied and pasted it over here, let's close this document down by hitting the little X button here. Don't save. And I will continue on with this one. Okay. But let's see what size this is, because if we look at the social media criteria requirements, the sizes are different. So it's 1080 by 1080 pixels and a 72 DPI. Because we're not printing this, we're going to put on social media. So if I go to my Photoshop file here, if I go to image size, this document is 1200 pixels, but the height is 900 pixels. So how do I make this 1080 by 1080? I can adjust it here, 1080, but then this becomes only 810. So my rule of thumb is this. I take the smaller number, which in this case is the height is smaller than the width, because it is a rectangular image in proportion. So I make that match my criteria. So I take the lower number and I match it to 1080. And then the higher number, which is 1400, I crop or I trim it to 1080 after, but not now, because if I force this by unchecking this and I force it to be that, it'll squish the image. So I don't recommend you do that, nor I want to show you. So
How
I'm going to
did you
leave
get
this
that
alone.
pop-up? The image
Image
size?
size, image size
From where?
from the image menu.
Oh, okay.
Okay, image menu, image size, right up here. So what you do is you take the lower number and you make it 1080. And then what you do is the higher number, which is the width, you can crop it later. So first you do this, then you click OK, and there's your pretty much matched size and more than, okay? So then what you can do is go to canvas size. I want to show you both and the difference. This is a good way to exemplify it. So image size did the overall image size.
How did you crop it?
I didn't crop it yet.
Oh, you didn't crop it yet.
No. So
But
you
you
go
put the
to
width to 1080?
so you
Oh,
go to
no.
image size
Okay.
and you make the height 1080.
Okay.
And why Alex? Why the height? Why not the width?
I don't know.
because it was a smaller number.
Ah,
And
okay.
I'm putting you on the spot because you're asking me the questions and nobody else. So you guys that are listening, I hope you remember the lower number is why I made this. Because if I made this 1080, then this is already this is like how I'm gonna add pixels that don't exist. I can easily take off pixels that do exist, but I don't want to add pixels that don't exist. So you always kind of subtract, the rule of subtraction. So you match the lower number to the criteria number, which is 1080. This I can easily shave off 400 pixels. Okay, not a problem. I can crop the picture after. So you match the lower number to the target, which is 1080. And then we go to canvas size, and this is how we crop it without using the crop tool. I know I showed you the crop tool last Wednesday, and we cropped the melon head and stuff. We're gonna do this more precisely using, a more calculated method, okay, more technical. So canvas size is how you can trim or expand the document without affecting the image or the content in the document, if that makes sense. So here we go to pixels. We can clearly see we have 1080 pixels in height, but the width is 1400. So we're going to match that to 1080 pixels as well. So this is how we strategically and numerically crop a document to the exact size proportions. And we can anchor this in the center, okay? So if we click OK now, we're guaranteed to get this exact size from an existing document. By pressing OK, it'll ask you, hey, some pixels will be cropped and stuff, and you sure you want to proceed with this? We say, yes, we do. And there is a 1080 by 1080 pixel document. Because if I go to image size now to double check, so these are the two variations I was going over. You can see here 1080, 1080, so it's perfect. Also, look, and a 72 dpi resolution. See? So now we can convert this into a social media ad. Okay. Now, you know what's easier than this? If I was doing this, if I were you, because this is just an exercise, I want to troubleshoot and show you how to convert anything to anything so you can kind of have that flexibility. But if it's easier for you, all you have to do is you go to File, New, you make a new document, and you go to Web, okay, and you make it 1080 pixels from here by 1080 pixels from here. So now you don't have to do any trickery, okay? No tricks. It is what it is. Turn off artboards because we're not going to create more than one unless we do a campaign and we make 3 more. We can always toggle this later, but for now it's easier to turn off artboards, match this size to whatever it is that you're creating it to be. Make sure the resolution is 72, RGB color, hit create, and there you go. So I made the same thing from scratch, which is a lot easier for you to do from, and then you add stuff here. You go to file, or copy and paste, or you place images in this document. Okay, how do I move this over here now? Well, if it's a layer like this, if it's a layer that's individual, this is another trick I'm going to show you. You ready? Watch this. You need a steady hand for this, a nice mouse. Watch this. I drag it up here to the tab. Once it activates that window, I'm holding the mouse the whole time. Holding the mouse. Holding the mouse. Look at this. You can't see it. It's invisible. But once you move the mouse back here and you let go, it drags the file in here. So I basically went click, drag, 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 hold, drag, 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 let go. Okay? It's not easy to do that, by the way, because halfway through you might lose the mouse. You click, you're gonna end up doing one of these. Oh, where's my thing? It went over here. It's gone now. So be careful. You got to be very careful with the, in control your clicking and stuff. So click, drag, 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 let go. Honestly, what's even easier is if you just copy and paste. So let's make this into a selection by, here's a shortcut. Ready for this one? If I command click on the thumbnail, I convert the selection on the object. If it's already especially transparent. Or you can just select it from before. Remember how we did quick mask from the original image? You can copy it there, go over here and hit Control V. You can just paste it. Okay, so whichever way you find this useful and kind of, kind of like more natural for you to use, then go with that technique. All right, but I want to show you both so you have flexibility. Okay, so we can either do it here or there. So I'm gonna put this away because Wednesday I'm gonna take this approach and give you another example. Maybe I'll do the MacBook then with you or something else. We'll pick our own theme in class. We'll make it very, very spontaneous. Okay, so we're gonna put this away now that I showed you that, and this is nice and recorded for you guys. Don't save. Let's continue with this one and make it what it's supposed to be. And by the way, I don't need a selection because it's already free floating. So I'll just do deselect my selection. And again, to activate a selection is the only purpose to paste it to another document. You simply command or control click on the empty layer. See how this layer is transparent? It'll activate the selection if you do that. Okay? And just deselect. But again, no need to do that because it's already there and you can move
How
it
did you
around.
activate the selection?
So if you control click on the thumbnail, you activate the selection. But there's no need for you to do that because you're not doing anything with it. So just don't do that, okay? Just deselect. Okay, so now let's name the layer. We're going to call this bike.
How do you
This bike.
deselect?
Just select, deselect.
Okay.
Reselect, deselect. You can also go with the selection tool, Alex, see? And just click away to deselect. Look, select, deselect, select, deselect. Doesn't matter how complex the selection is. As soon as you click anywhere with any selection tool, even the last two, if I just go click here, it'll deselect the selection. Another, menu-oriented way to do it is select, deselect, okay? And it's very important that you manage this because if you accidentally have a selection, okay, and you're trying to move this and you're in the wrong layer, look what can happen now. Look, I just cut out that image from the background. So a lot of weird things can happen if you're not in control. So I'm glad you guys are asking questions about this basic stuff because it is important. You control what layer are you in? Is the selection on or off? Okay, what is being selected? Okay, what are you intending to do? You have to kind of, understand what's happening before you do it. Otherwise, I mean, look, it's okay if you make mistakes. That's how you learn too sometimes. So I do let students go and kind of mess up and learn from it, right? But I'm trying to show you things that you can avoid and, just avoid frustration sometimes because people do get a little frustrated doing this stuff, especially when they haven't done it before. So it is a little different. But put it this way, once you master these techniques I'm showing you, you'll be that much more capable of using the software and doing more stuff with it, pretty much whatever you want. So here we are, 2 layers. Don't worry about the selections right now. We don't need selections. We used it already in the previous example with quick mask mode. Okay, so now we're going to add a logo or a slogan. Okay, so what bike company are we going to use? So we're going to go to, let's say, dirt bikes or dirt bike brands. We have a lot of different, we have Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki, KTM, and Husqvarna, okay? So, let's just pick one of them. We can go with any one. We can go with Kawasaki, for example, okay? And if we click on Kawasaki, maybe logo, we're going to get the Kawasaki logo, right? This is it right here. It does have the white background, so we can kind of get one that doesn't have. I like this rectangular one better with the K. Kawasaki. So if we want to grab this logo and bring it into we're doing a social media ad in Photoshop, it's a Kawasaki brand, then we can just right click, copy the image, okay? Go to Photoshop and just hit paste. We'll just paste the image directly from the browser. Nice and easy way to do it. Then we go to Control T, which is a free transform, Control T or Command T on the Mac. Hold Shift, resize the logo, press enter, and there's our logo here, and there's our bike over here, okay? Now, how do we get rid of white background? Well, we click on the logo, let's double click here. We'll call it Kawasaki logo, right? So one quick way to do this is by clicking on the layer blend mode, and we can try a different mode like one of these, darken, multiply, lighten screen. Like they might work, but sometimes if it's red, it won't. With black and white, it will work, but not in red. So we can't do these little tricks unless it's a black and white version of the logo. In this case, what I recommend we do is we just simply get rid of the white background. And the easiest way to do that is by using the well, let me make this logo bigger again. I kind of like it. Do me a favor, don't when you paste the logo and it's this big and you want to get rid of the white background, don't resize it and then do it because you're going to lose more details and pixels and quality. So the bigger it is, the better in terms of you know, grabbing it from the internet, because then you can just delete the white background and then shrink it, because then you're grabbing more out of the most out of the pixels that are given to you. So having said that, let's do it from this point onwards. Now that we know the approach, I'm trying to show you the right way here. We're going to use the magic eraser tool. The magic eraser tool is how we're going to do this by simply, so not the eraser tool, because the eraser tool does this and you're going to be here all day, right? We don't want to do that. We want to go do it a lot faster. And the background eraser tool is for background, so don't use that either. This is what you want to use, the magic eraser. Just like your magic wand, this is the magic eraser tool. All you do is you click on the white background and presto, gone. See? Let's move this up here again. There's a few missed spots that I have. So I'm going to go back to the magic eraser tool and just simply go, and be careful because maybe you do want to turn on the caps lock key in this case because you want to grab the crosshair, because the eraser works with the white tip, not with the little magic stuff. So the white tip, if I click on the wrong parts, it's going to delete the wrong thing. So be careful. You want to click on the white little tail of the letter to clear it that way. Okay, so that's how you can get rid of the white background. And believe me, a lot of logos on the internet come with a white background. Well, there's one with the transparent background. I could have grabbed this one. But sometimes it might look transparent, but it's not. It's an illusion of the transparency. So basically, we're going to use that one, okay? All right. Let's go ahead and resize it. We can then put like a nice catchy slogan going across here with our own typography. So to do that, sometimes you might not want to rely on just logos from the internet. You can use the text tool. This is the type tool in Photoshop. And do me a favor, just click and type. Don't click and drag a text box. So I'm going to go click here and type Kawasaki. I think by default I have this thing on, so. I mean, it's a pretty similar font than the default Arial font, right? So we can use the same kind of font and write like a message, okay? 1 second here.
How did you change the color of the text? Hello?
So I have to just do something quickly here. So now that we have the right typography matched,
How
because
did you
this is
change the color of the text?
like the one I just typed in.
Yeah.
If you have the character palette shown, you go to Window, open up the character palette right here. I did it by pressing Control T. Sorry, be careful when you press Control T. Only if you have the text highlighted, Control T works. If you have it highlighted as an object, Control T gives you the transform. So maybe it's better that you do it this way. Open up the character palette here, okay? This character is your type palette. You can change the color this way, okay? You can match the red and do all kinds of stuff from here, okay? If it's highlighted, you can do it up here. If it's not highlighted, you have to do it over here. So there's several ways of doing it, right? Maybe I'll change it to like a white background because it'll stand out more. But I'm not going to repeat Kawasaki twice, right? I'm going to put their slogan. So Kawasaki is a Japanese multinational corporation that produces a wide range of products. So basically, Rivermark logo. So what's the Kawasaki slogan? Let the good times roll. Get it? So that's the Kawasaki slogan. So if I copy that one and I go over here and I paste it over here, Command or Control V, let the good times roll. That's the slogan we're going to use for the branding. Okay. We can either go, bold italic. We can just go italic without the bold. Doesn't always have to be bold. We can reduce the point size. Okay. We can make it bigger by increasing the point size. We can also use the free transform to do it more like visually. So you can do it this way. Okay. Right. You can do that. I'm just gonna maybe leave it here for now. We can overlap it somehow. Right. So it's kind of touching the logo a bit. So it's intertwined. We can do lots of different things, right? So that is a slogan of Kawasaki. So let the good times roll, and we can also even give it some kind of quotations at the end. Okay, and this could be utilized for the social media ad. So we do have a text layer, we do have a logo layer, we do have the motorbike on top of this background. We do have the size matched to 1000, 1080. So all these things contribute to the criteria of this ad that you guys are doing for the first assignment. Okay. You want to put this down here, you can. Maybe it's a little less visible, so I'm going to keep it at the top. Usually a lot of the slogans are positioned that way, depending on the ad. It varies. If this area looks a little empty, we can grab another image to integrate with the ad. So let's first save this. We're going to go save as. And this will be called the Kawasaki Meta Advert. Okay. And we'll save it as a Photoshop file. First and foremost, you have to save the Photoshop file. And then after we produce the files that we're sending to, the social media channels. So for now, it's going to be this. If the white looks a little too drastic, this is how I quickly can change the color. Double click on the thumbnail. This highlights the text. Click on this little color swatch here. Instead of picking colors from here, you can pick a color from the image by simply selecting this lighter blue color. I'm just doing a nice color match. See, so it's like a lighter shade of blue that matches I can even try this khaki color, but I'll go with the light blue. I think it's nice. So again, that trick is this way. Double click on the little T, the thumbnail, and that highlights the text. From up here, there's a little color swatch. Click on it, and then pick any color from the document. Okay, so I picked this light blue color. I pressed OK. I went to select and deselect. All right, I'm also going to grab some kind of other Kawasaki accessory or item, and I'm going to maybe put it here in this little corner. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that online. Going to Kawasaki helmet. Maybe that's a good way to sell this thing. Helmet. All right, these are nice and green. Nice helmets, by the way. I'm going to go with the red color here. So this is the red Kawasaki helmets. All right, I mean, we can search all day. right? So we right click on the helmet, whichever one you want to use, copy image. I don't want you to always copy image. I want to show you how to save it and load it properly. Sometimes copy and paste doesn't always work. So I'm going to save the image instead from the internet somewhere in my computer. I'm going to go to my desktop in this case. Okay, I'm going to go back here and see if that, well, there it is. Oh, it's a WebP file, right? So there's the helmet here. Okay, so how do I incorporate an image? Because you're going to save images on your computer and you're going to want to assemble the ad from scratch. So what you want to do is basically do it this way. So you open the image. There's two ways. You open the image from here. There's the WebP file. And yes, Photoshop can read WebP formats now. Before it couldn't. If you have an older version of Photoshop, it might not be able to. So make sure you have the latest version. So WebP, open. And here's the helmet. Here's the document. So same thing. We're going to select the helmet and copy and paste it into the advert, right? The quickest way to do that right now is I'm looking at this white background. So I'm going to use the magic wand, click on the white background like this. Notice how it's all selected all the way around. And I'm going to go select inverse, which means it's going to select the opposite. So it's selecting the helmet, not the background. Okay, remember I can use quick mask mode if I need to clean it up. It looks pretty good though, so there's no need for me to intervene with any quick mask techniques. Oh, there is though. Wait a minute. Look, it's selecting a little bit of this part. See, I just caught it right now. So me pressing Q in quick mask mode, going to the brush, I can go ahead and, oh, wrong. I can go ahead and fix this. I can take away the parts that I don't need. So I'm going to clean it up now and make sure there's no red being selected. So that is the red. That's part of the helmet. That's good. Anything else? I think maybe over here I have a spot here as well. Make the brush
How
a
did
little
you
smaller.
invert?
So select inverse. Inverse up here. So once you perfect your mask, then you press Q again. Remember, Q is your toggle switch, on and off, on and off. I go to selection mode, Control C or Command C on the Mac, going to my advert file, Command V. Well, just make sure it's copy, paste. And I'm going to call this one helmet. This will be called logo. So all my layers are named accordingly. I'm going to put the helmet down here. Well, right? I'm going to resize the helmet as well. So I'm going to hit Control T or Command T. Resize the helmet. Maybe I'll move it over here instead. The opposite corner. I'm also going to move the bike over here a little bit, maybe. Do some more transform resizing as well. Okay. Want to put some other accessories and other things, you can. You just have to grab more sources from the website. We integrated copy and paste again, the same method we were utilizing the whole way through the lesson. Can you drag and drop stuff in here or place stuff? Yes, you can. Okay, so let me grab another accessory here, maybe some gloves or something. See, Kawasaki gloves. There's some nice Kawasaki gloves, or just Kawasaki gloves will do. Well, there's the Ninja gloves here. So if I do like a right click, save image as again, right? Oh, there's some nice ones here with the blue. It's got a little bit of red and blue in there. It's from eBay. They're not that much nicer though. Plus they're missing the thumb. These are nice as well. Those are BMW. Okay, whatever. So if I right click, save image as, right? On the desktop, and then I go here, instead of opening it again, copying and pasting it like we did before, I also want to show you this. Drag and drop. Ready? So you got to be able to see this. You got to be able to see the background. Drag and drop works too. Okay, you just have to drag it in the right place, resize, and there's the drag and drop documents, okay? And press enter.
Could you repeat that, please?
The drag and drop,
Yes.
okay? So you got to be able to see both things, like the application
Okay.
and the image, right? And you simply drag it over like this and drop it, okay?
Okay.
Okay. And press enter, right? So now, because you dragged and dropped it, or you watch this other one. Let's say Alex's window is giving him trouble, and for some reason you can't see both things, or there's just no space, right? Here's the alternative. You go to File, Place Embedded, not Link, because Link means you have to rely on the image later, so it's a little harder to manage if you're not the organized type. So just do embedded, because that's the original place command in Photoshop anyways. They recently added both options, but stick with this one. That's the original. Embedded means the image becomes part of the document, so it's part of it, okay? So embed, place embedded. Here's the gloves. Place. Same thing as me dragging and dropping it, okay? Same thing, no difference. So if you're the drag and drop kind of person, or you want to just go file, place, you can do either or, okay? So then we want to get rid of this background here, but we have a problem because whenever you want to place something or drag and drop, it's considered a smart object. What is a smart object? It means it's non-destructive. That means you can resize it back and forth without having to sacrifice pixels. Because that happens when you do this too often, the pixels get distorted. And you know what happens with some images online, they become really blurry and pixely. That's because they're resized, or they're, not the right resolution. I'm gonna hide these two layers so they don't interfere with my workflow here. I'm just gonna hide those two like this, so I can focus on getting rid of this white background. So same thing, the magic wand. Let's click on the white background, press delete, and I got an error message. That's because you can't delete backgrounds on smart objects. So every time you drag and drop something, or you place something that's embedded, you can't just get rid of the white background. You have to rasterize it first. So what that means is you have to right click. I know this is a little tedious step, but you have to just remember it. And once you do it, it's going to be as smooth as anything else, okay? So whenever you have images that are smart objects, okay, you have to right click and rasterize them. Okay, so I'm going to pause here for a second so everybody understands. Rasterized layer is you're converting it to pixels. Why are we converting it to pixels? So we can edit the pixels. Because if you want to get rid of those white pixels, you have to have a rasterized image. So raster is another term for pixel. So when you rasterize the layer, it means you're converting this, I guess we'll call it a vector because it's a smart object, to pixels. So rasterize layer. See that thumbnail disappeared, right? Let me press Command Z. You see the little thumbnail here? That's another indication that this is not a normal layer. It's called a smart layer. Okay, so if you right click and you got to do it here though, not here, here on the right side, rasterize layer, the thumbnail's gone. That means you're good to go. And you can press delete now, and won't give you any problems with error messages, okay? I got another gap over here, so click in the middle here, delete, deselect. I'm just pressing shortcuts here, guys. Deselect, Command D. Move tool, zoom out, Command T, put it over here. There's the gloves, okay? You guys want more apparel? The Kawasaki's got everything you need, okay? There's the gloves. Let's put the bike back and put the logo back. Now we have a Kawasaki social media ad. We have the products. We got the motorcycle. What else do we possibly need, right? How about if we make the motorcycle do this, just fly across the actual ad? Yeah, we can do that too, but we'll do that in week 11, week 12 when we do animation. So I will show you how to convert these layers into animations because we can do that in Photoshop as well. And we can convert this into an animated GIF or a video. So you can actually play this and put a roaring sound of a motorcycle going around and the thing flying across, and you can do all these cool things that you see on these other platforms. Okay, so we can do all that stuff, but for now, we're not gonna learn animation. That's another lesson I'm gonna save for later. But this is important because once you learn this, the other stuff is easy to implement as long as you learn the basics, the fundamentals of using selections, layers, assembling things, putting things in the right specs like sizing, dimensions, resolution, all this stuff that's important that goes with Photoshop. Okay, let's go ahead and save this now. We'll do a file save. Okay, so this is the Photoshop file. And now what we're going to do is, let's say this was ready and it's approved for us to put it into social media. So that means we're going to save it as a JPEG. Okay, because JPEGs are good for this one. Gonna cover this little shadow here. Okay. So once you save the Photoshop file, Photoshop is not acceptable by, if you just ask, can I use Photoshop files into Facebook and Instagram? So no, you cannot directly use Photoshop files. Okay. You have to convert it to a JPEG or a PNG, and you have to make sure it's 1080 pixels. So we did all this already. We just have to make sure now we know how to export this as the right format for the social media world. Okay. So to do that, we simply go over here. We already saved the Photoshop file. Now we do save for web, or save a copy actually. We'll do a web another time when we do more web related things. So save a copy is what you want to do. And then you have the rest of the options available. So we do have a PNG. PNG is good for like transparency logos and other images. If you have a rich graphic like this one with a lot of imagery, I much more prefer a JPEG. As you know, your phones are pre-default to JPEG anyways. So a lot of JPEGs are used for photography, and we're going to go with the JPEG format, which stands for Joint Photographic Export Group. Those are the people that invented the lossy and the lossless compression of JPEG. Okay, so that's what the acronym means, and that's what we're going to use because it's been used in the past, I don't know, 30 years or so. Okay, so JPEG, hit save. We're going to go with a 10. It's still maximum quality. If you go to high quality, it drops down to like 8 or 9. This is a good spectrum to stick with the 10. You can go as high as 12 if you want. Just makes a little difference with file size. I like to use 10 because it's still, look, 500 kilobytes. Not bad. If you go big, it becomes like almost a meg, and you won't see the visual difference anyway. So might as well be smart about this. I like the number 10 for that reason. Baseline standard is how the format is, and we're just going to hit OK. And that's going to export this as a JPEG, which we can then, entertain this for any social media platform, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, and the other ones as well. Click OK. I'm going to go back to the desktop here. These are the other materials we added. Look at WebP format, a JPEG from the internet, and we included that also. Okay. Let's go to the folder here. I'll make a new folder. I'll call it class 9. It's Photoshop, I know that. And we're going to copy this selections like lesson 2 folder, this cutout here. So we're going to copy that, and we're going to paste it in here. So we know we're extending the lessons from the other lesson folders available. So this is the lesson here. I'm also going to incorporate these images here so that I can completed a collection of data that I have. Okay. All right. So like I said, when I see you Wednesday, we're going to produce another ad ourselves. We're going to pick a theme. I do have the the MacBook Pro media files that we're not going to use. We're going to pick something else. If you want, we can use that one. I just let the students decide, and we get to upload this. So we'll talk about this Wednesday, okay? But for now, I will have one more item left on the list for today. We're going to do an image reconstruction exercise all together, and we're going to upload the results here. And that happens to be located in your lesson folder file again. From last week, I gave you lesson file covers for the next two classes. So we're going to tap into this resource. Okay, so open that folder. I'm gonna have to go look for it again. It's under my lesson class 8 Photoshop file here, selections. Okay, so it's called lesson 4 ripped. So I'm also gonna copy that and paste it into my week 9 or class 9 folder. So this one I want to do with you as well today. And this is going to be the next one that we're going to use for the exercise. This one's going to be similar to the watermelon one, but we're going to combine everything you learned today and last week into this exercise. So everything you learned today. What did we learn today? Quick masking. Okay. We learned how to utilize quick masking with selections. And last week we just learned how to use selections. So how do we combine the two? Perfect way to use this to use it for this exercise. So let's go ahead and open this one here. It's called lesson 4 ripped. So double click, rip torn, and you can see here this is a very, very popular technique that if you master this, you're going to be that much more useful in this digital industry because now you're going to be able to reconstruct, damaged evidence. This is evidence that's being destroyed, and your job, let's say you work for the FBI or the CIA or you're a government agent, your job is to reconstruct the evidence now. See, got a lot of powers now you're going to have. So we're going to put this back together, okay? And you can see a lot of things do happen, by the way. People do destroy things and images and evidence, could be documents. You can put them back together, okay? Just how much time you invest is how good of a job it's going to look like. So I'm going to put this Kawasaki thing away and we're going to put this image back together. So let's zoom in, Control plus, space bar, Control plus, space bar. And we're going to start with this. Any questions before we begin, let me know. I do encourage to do this with me. Or if you want to just watch, that's okay. You can watch the video later and try to do it on your own. But if you can do this with me, it's even better. Just open the file like I have right now and go ahead and join me. I'll give you like a minute or so to get organized, okay? So go ahead. I'm just curious who's doing this with me so I have a good grasp on the people, following me here.
Um,
Put your hands up, please. Let's see who's doing this. Oh boy. Sorry, guys. Let me open my screen. Okay, so keep your hands up. Okay, so I have everybody doing this with me. All right, cool. All right, very good. Let's proceed then. So we're going to reconstruct this photo to its natural state, okay? Utilizing the selection tools we used last week and the quick masking techniques we learned this morning. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to start here at the top corner, make the layers palette nice and visible so we're going to end up with a lot of layers here, probably like 6 or 7 layers. So keep this visible. Let's start at the top left corner, okay? Let's start with the out of all the tools I showed you, I like the magnetic one for this one because it's going to stick to the edges. So let's try the magnetic lasso tool. And then we're going to switch it to another one to the next example. I'm going to probably pick two of my favorite tools for this. And if you have your favorite, you can definitely, include it as well. So a magnetic lasso tool, we start at the corner here because it's going to, the way the magnetic tool works is it differentiates pixels, in this case from black to the blue in the background. So we click here and we follow a nice steady hand all across. I'm not clicking at all, just gonna maybe I'll click when I get to the edge just to kind of redirect it. So click and then follow it again. Nice and easy, steady hand. Hope you guys have a mouse handy. The trackpad, I don't know if it'll work that useful. Click again. all the way across here. Click again, follow, follow, follow. You're just following a straight line. And then click exactly where you left off. The little zero is going to show up. That means you're going to close the selection, and there it is. Is it perfect? Looks like it's perfect, but let's press Q to go to quick mask mode and to perfect the selection. So in conjunction with us using a standard method or an intermediate method, we press Q, then we use a brush technique. Okay, we use the square brackets, bigger, smaller, and we use the, oh, wrong one, press X. We simply fix the selection. With this one, I like to hold shift click, draws a straight line. And you can see here how if you missed a few spots, you can
How do you
fix
get
them.
out of the magnetic lasso?
Are you stuck? Like, is it going crazy on you?
Yeah.
Press escape.
Oh, escape.
Yeah, and do it again. Yeah. Again, look, there's a little red here. Red means we're not going to get this part. So I'm going to just press X. Once I switch the white to black, we're going to mask this as a yes. We want that to be part of our selection. We want some of these little details, and you can see some more stuff that are here or there. You can do that also. Okay. And yeah, so basically we're going to go with this. Zoom out. Once we perfect the selection, we press Q for quick mask mode. Remember Q, we go back to standard mode, right? There's the selection. So now we're going to copy and paste it, okay, into a separate layer. So we're going to press Command C, Command V, or just Command J, if you like, whichever one. And this becomes a separate layer. We're going to double click and call this top left. Top left means it's the top left corner, just to better kind of get familiar with the location and how we're going to do it. So if I hide the background layer right now, you do have this top left corner all free to be assembled later because we're going to move these later and put them together. So first we extract them and then we assemble them. Okay, so let's move this over here. Let's apply the visibility on the background. Let's hide this layer. Let's click on the background, just like the melon, and let's grab the next layer. Okay. The next one, I like to exploit other tools, not just the magnetic. We're going to try another favorite of mine is the quick selection tool. The quick selection tool works nicely because we simply go, again, the background layer, click and drag, click and drag, click, and look, see it's getting this. Let's press Q. See the progress so far, right? Let's click over here, click over here, click over here. See with Q, you can see the progress, right? So let's use the tool to its full capabilities and then perfect it with the quick mask. So we're using a combination of quick mask and selection tools. So click, click and drag, click and drag. Well, not done yet. Click and drag, click and drag. I think I got all of it now by clicking and dragging, right? Press Q, and I think it looks pretty decent. By zooming in, I'm going to go with the brush tool and using a black or a white additive or subtractive method, I'm going to perfect the selection here. And you can see by judging the photo, I think it did a pretty good job, actually. No need for intervention, guys. No need for intervention. Maybe here a little bit. Here's the little edges and stuff if you really want to get perfect, right? A little more here, a little more there, right? So again, X switches at, black, paint or take away, right? That's how you can do this step here. Okay, guys? So now we're ready to go back to standard mode again. Press Q, standard mode, background layer is highlighted, copy and paste. So let's hit Command J or copy and paste, and we're going to rename this top right corner. So top right corner. Okay, we're going to move it all up here so we can just kind of separate and see that it works. So once you do this and you see this duplicate effect, that means you did extract this successfully and you do have these two pieces ready to be combined later on, right? So we do have these two pieces extracted, and later we just have to transform, rotate, and put them in, put them together, right? But in the meantime, we hide those pieces that we extracted, and we keep extracting the rest of the pieces from the source, which is the background layer. Okay, so let's keep going here. We're gonna grab this one next. So we've utilized the magnetic lasso, worked well. I'm kind of really favoring this one so far, the quick selection tool. Another one that I might think it might work is the object selection tool, but I'm not sure. Let's try it by rolling here, holding shift. Yeah, this one doesn't really work, guys. It's got way too much detail. It got the skateboard, but that's no good, right? So I think between all these tools, I'm going to favor this one, the quick selection tool or the magnetic lasso tool. So these are your go-to tools for this particular lesson. Look, if I had another image, this might work better. So depending on the image, this is why you want to diversify your techniques. You want to be able to use all these methods because some may work here and some may work somewhere else. So let's go back to the quick selection tool. Click and drag the mouse. This one seems to work okay. Click over here. Click over here. Press Q. Well, I missed the spot over here, so click over there. I got to be careful when do not do it in quick mask mode. I just made that mistake. Make sure you're not in quick mask mode when you use selection tools. So make sure you do this and then press Q. When you're in quick mask mode, the only thing you should do is use the brush to fix your selections. Like you see how I missed a spot over here? So I'm going to go ahead and get this part also included. All right. Inspect the edges nicely.
How do you use the brush?
Just paint with it.
It is it already selected?
I don't know, Alex.
Oh, right. Got it.
But make sure though, hold on. Make sure if you have white, it'll do this. If you have black, it'll do that. So make sure you're consciously aware of what you're selecting on top. So make sure black is to, add. And if you press X, it's
Okay.
white, you subtract. And that's how you can perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how you perfect your selection. Okay. All right. And believe me, guys, this is the methods professionals been using for the past, 2, 3 decades in Photoshop, including myself, to get perfect selections at every given opportunity. And, so once you do the combination of two, and I'm already doing this. Look, we only have 7 weeks of Photoshop, so my main goal is to introduce you to all these from basic to intermediate to professional, so you can do all kinds of nice selections going forward and have no limits with your creative assemblies. Okay. All right, quick mask mode again. Hit the toggle button, Q, standard mode. That means we can copy and paste, right? So we hit Command J, copy paste. I'm going to call this one right middle. Just move it a bit so you can tell it's copied okay. That's fine. Done. Hide it again. Go back to the background layer. We have one more piece down here. So we're going to use let's go back to the magnetic lasso tool. So click, drag, follow the edges or the traces back and forth. Like I said, I like the magnetic and the quick selection tool in combination with the quick mask tool to get this done. There we go. Okay. Q for quick mask mode. Do your inspection. I think this one's pretty good actually. Okay. So if you have to fix it, use the brush. If not, don't. Maybe I'll get rid of some of these white parts here. Okay. A little too generous on the edges over here. Extra piece over here, right? When you have a straight line like this, don't try to draw a straight line. Just simply click on the edge and click on the other edge with shift. That just draws a straight line. Just a nice little quick tip. All right. And it doesn't have to be that perfect. As long as it's decent enough, you can just exit quick mask mode, copy and paste, or Command J, move tool, move it up. So you successfully extracted it. Very good. This one is going to be called the bottom center. Okay. We're going to hide the background or hide this piece. We got one left. Okay. This is the bottom left corner. So we're going to go to the background layer. I'm going to go back to the quick selection tool again. Click and drag the mouse, click and drag the mouse, click and drag the mouse all the way. Go to quick mask mode, zoom in. fix my selection if I need to. I think I see one little spot over here. Simply using my, I'm going to use white. Whoop. I'm still, gotta be careful. Don't go to quick mask mode. So there we go. Use white to extract, black to add. So quick mask mode, the brush tool. Make sure you're in the paintbrush tool. I was in the wrong tool for a second. That's why I was getting the wrong result. I'm going to press X to add the black. Just get rid of this little piece here. There we go. Nice and fixed. This is the last piece. So if I press Q again, I exit quick mask mode. I go to standard mode. So again, Q is your, back and forth tool there. Just Q. Command J or copy and paste. That works as well. This will be called the bottom left corner. Bottom left. That means I can hide the background layer now. I can show the other layers like this. Okay. I can use the move tool and I can move them all together and make sure auto select layer is enabled. So you can do this basically, right? And I'm going to show you how to put this back together now. Now that we have all the layers extracted, we can reconstruct the evidence and, produce a case. This is maybe an injury case. You're working for a law firm and you're producing this unfortunate individual here. Maybe he's okay. He just maybe got hurt doing this thing and we caught him on camera and they try to destroy the evidence and we're trying to put it back together to say, hey, what's he doing doing these crazy stunts? Maybe he shouldn't be doing this to prevent injury, right? So this is the case we're working on. I totally made this up, by the way, but it sounds good, right? All right, so we move this here. At this point, you might want to enable show transform controls because now you can actually rotate and do all kinds of stuff. Better yet, I'm going to show you a more strategic way to do it. Just pressing enter, grab this piece, right? By having show transform controls on, what you can do is grab this middle piece. This is your pivoter, this little pivot point. So if I move this up here where these two join, if I move it here, and if I grab the corners and I move them like this, I get to actually rotate the image based on based on the registration. So the registration was moved on that point strategically so I can do this. Okay. I'm going to show you that again. Okay. Press enter. And I can just nudge it with the keyboard. Up, 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 left, left, down, down. I can do it by smaller increments, but because I can't do it with my hand, maybe it's not as detailed. Let's go to the next one. Okay. This one to do the same thing. First, I pick the corner. You see how I joined the corner here on the right? Right? I grab this registration point and I move that to the corner. So that's my joiner right there. I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to go to the opposite corner and just rotate it. And I'm going to get that. You see? Perfect. I'm going to press enter and I'm going to move the direction keys up and down, left and right to perfectly move it into place. Okay. Press enter. Grab the next piece, this one here. Maybe grab this one as well. This one I'm gonna move it to the corner here on this area. I'm gonna move the joiner. Look, you can do it any way you want. I have people that do this with just rotating it freely and eyeballing it, but this is more advantageous because you can target the actual corners that join and then really, really line it up proper, right? There we go. The next piece here is going to be, I'm going to join the rail. The rail is right there. Looks like it's broken up right here. Okay, so we're going to join the rail. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and move this registration point right where the rail meets the other rail. And we're going to grab the opposite corners and do this, right? Press enter. And we're going to move it to the right a bit, to the left, up and down. And there we have it. We reconstructed the evidence, and now we can say, look, this is what happened, right? We can then crop the image. We can grab all these layers with shift, move them all together nicely like that. We can press enter. We're going to use the crop tool. We're going to crop this image nicely like that because we're going to make sure we clean it up a bit, right? We're going to press enter, right? And we're going to then save it as a a Photoshop document, because this way we keep this work copy. So save it as a Photoshop document. Torn. Instead of torn, we're going to rename it and call it fixed. So we're just going to change the name a bit to save a separate copy instead of torn to fixed as a Photoshop document. I'm going to hit save. To produce the evidence in the public, maybe you want to upload this and share it with everybody else on an email or something so we can produce the case. Then we save it as a JPEG. So you go to save a copy, okay? And you save it as a JPEG like we did with the social media advert earlier. So JPEG, ripped, fixed copy, same folder, hit save. We'll keep it at 10. Done. Keep in mind, JPEGs don't save the layers, so it's going to be a flat image if you open a JPEG. Only Photoshop keeps the layers, so you can go ahead and re-edit it if you have to. Okay, so that's how you can do this from beginning to end, putting any type of image, restoration or rip torn kind of image back together. We did a lot of things today, guys. I hope you learned a lot today. So we did reconstructed this one. We did a social media advert. We combined these two images. We learned a very valuable lesson of quick masking. Here's a little written handout on that. And we put this image back together, which this is your next assignment for next week on Wednesday. So I'll do another lab with you this Wednesday. We'll go over this stuff again to make sure you really understand it. And we'll take it from there. Alrighty, so I'm gonna let me stop the recording and then you guys can ask questions, okay? So I'm gonna just stop the recording here. And having said that, thank you for watching me, guys. Again, nice to see everybody. And I'll see you guys in the next lesson. Bye for now, and have yourself a great week going forward. All right, see you next time. Okay.